John, you're the chairman of the sport of handball at the New York Athletic Club. How important is handball here at the NYAC?
Handball here at the NYAC is very important, which is really great now. We have a long history of over 100 years of handball and handball champions. The Obert brothers, who are all three of which are in the Hall of Fame, and that's a huge deal in this club, is to get into the Hall of Fame. This is the room that we're in today. And the Obert brothers have, between the three of them, won 99 national champions between one wall, three wall, and four wall. And although the program may have slipped a bit in the last decade or so, we've really put a lot of effort into getting it back to where we think it should be, and we're really moving forward strongly in that direction. And we've had a lot of great support from the captain of the club, who started with Kevin in the last 3 years. We had Kevin Earls was just turning over, Lou Joya, and Chris Casals, and the governor of athletics is Brian Healy, and they've been very, very supportive of handball. So we're hoping that it continues to move forward in a very positive way.
You took over the program about 3 years ago, and since then there's been an incredible improvement here, both in the players and the tournament itself. Where do you see the NYAC handball program in 5 years, 10 years, and beyond?
I think it's going to continue to move in this direction. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to, in a couple more years, pass the baton on to another member in the sport. Maybe John Duggan, who's a national champion, or someone of that caliber, former national champion. In addition to that, which is what we're really trying to do, is get some grassroots members that are playing in the club. We've reached out to the ICHA, which is Paul Williams' group, as you know, and they've been setting up high school players to compete at a lower level here. And we've also reached out to the Catholic School League. And what we're trying to do is look to these young men and women and bring them in as handball members. They may not be national champions, but they're going to support the sport of handball, which is very important. And then we hope to continue with our reputation of supporting handball throughout the country and reach out and get the top players to help support them.
The New York Athletic Club is obviously one of the premier and most prestigious athletic clubs in the world.
Thank you.
And you're clearly very passionate about it. What motivates you to restore the NYAC to becoming one of the most prestigious handball programs in the world?
Well, actually, a lot of things do. We have some great members that play handball, and the NYAC, actually on a personal level, has been very good to me over the years, and been very supportive of me personally. When they reached out and asked me if I'd take over the program, I decided to throw myself in it full force. And the other thing that motivates me is the other chairman of other sports. In the 2008 Olympics, we brought home 22 Olympic medals for people that we sponsored within the club. And the type of sports that we choose to sponsor are not the name brand sports that are supported by Nike and things like that. We supported the women's water polo team, the men's water polo team, the rowing team, the lacrosse players. So we have some really great dedicated chairman of sports, and I think we feed on each other, and we try to move the club as a whole to the next level. And that's part of the support I spoke about earlier, that these men and women support me, and I support them as we move it, because our goal really here at the athletic club is to have a strong is to keep athletics in mind as number one. That's the reason for the club to be, when it was founded, amateur athletics, and that's the way we want to continue it going forward. And we want to be strong, and I think we have a great base right now.
The NYAC takes a lot of pride in the players that it sponsors. What players is the NYAC currently sponsoring in handball?
Okay, we have quite a few players. On the national stage, we have, of course, on the women's side, we have Tracy Davis. And on the men's side, we have Paul Brady, who spoke earlier, Alan Garner, Sean Lenning. And then we have some local talent. We have the Bastides brothers, Jarrell and Tyree, Mike Schneider, and now I'm forgetting, of course, and Billy O'Donnell. So that's who we're sponsoring at this moment.
What does it mean to the NYAC Handball Club to have one of its players win a 4-wall or a 3-wall or 1-wall national championship?
That's exactly what we need the amount of pride that the club feels when any of our athletes wins a national champion. We have an annual dinner that sponsors them, and it's the idea that we're trying to get our name out there, that in addition to just regular national champions, by promoting and winning that, we think that we can get younger athletes to motivate themselves and become part of the club as well.
The World Players of Handball has joined the NYAC for this event, the Bert Kossoff NYAC Invitational. What do you think the NYAC and WPH could do together to propel the growth of this sport and return to the golden age of the 1950s and 1960s?
I think what we're doing right now has had a great impact. I mean, you and I spoke earlier in the day, and I really do credit the WPH for promoting our event, promoting the event jointly with you. We mentioned, the two of us, as we spoke earlier today, that there's some great chatter, great positive chatter on the web, not just on your website, but on Facebook and other blogs that are out there. And there's really an excitement about this event, and we're excited about it. And I think the WPH, because of your promotion, has helped promote that positive chatter throughout the country. As we said, there's people from various states that are actually going to be following our tournament, and your presentation here has helped that move forward very well, and we're very proud of it, and we're very excited about it.
New York City has over 2,000 one-wall courts and tens of thousands of one-wall players. It's become the most popular street sport in New York City. What does the NYAC do to try and get themselves involved with the one-wall aspect of handball, both small ball and big ball?
Well, that part of what we do is through the Paul Williams and the ICHA and then the Catholic School League, is to try to reach out to these young men and women and let them know that they're welcome to come here. Carl Obert, who I was remiss not to speak about earlier specifically, has been an ambassador of the club and an ambassador for the sport. He reaches out to these young kids. His excitement and his positive force that he brings with him, and the way he critiques these young men and women's games and gets them to see the nuances of both the one wall but that's really what we're doing, is trying to reach out through these various leagues and let them know that these people are welcome to play at our club and compete at our club.
Do you think the one-wall game is the future of handball, or do you see four-wall emerging as the Cadillac of handball with the advent of HD filming and aggressive promotion?
I think actually the four-wall will be the Cadillac that'll be driving the force. I think what we need to do is to continue to realize that, especially in New York City, and as you said, it is such a street game. That's where I learned the game as a kid. My father was from Ireland, so he played four-wall, and introduced me to four-wall at the Y. But whether it's Coney Island or up in off Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, or right here out here in beautiful Central Park, one-wall courts are free, and they're numerous, and so we want to be able to reach out to those people and say, listen, we have this other sport, the four-wall, but I really do think that that's where it's going to be, driving it home.
What does it mean to the NYAC Handball Club to have Paul Brady, Dave Chapman, Sean Lenning, Alan Garner, David Fink, Emmett Pashot, Tracy Davis, Samantha England, Jennifer Hinman, and Megan Mihalos competing in this prestigious Bert Kossoff NYAC Invitational presented by the World Players of Handball? It
means a lot. I mean, as I said earlier, what we're trying to do, and having these great players here, and having you here, and having the WPH here, it helps get the word that the NYAC Handball is back. We're trying to bring a very strong competitive program out. We want people to come to our club, come to our city, and get excited about handball, as you and I both are, as many of these, as everybody here who's there, who's going to be competing or watching this weekend. And people are welcome to come and watch the tournament. We're not charging any fee, because we're really trying to get the word out that people are welcome, and that NYAC Handball is back, and having people like yourselves and having the rankings being as affected by how the outcomes of the play really demonstrates to me that the handball community, like yourself, are taking this tournament very seriously and are preparing, and we're excited to have you, and we're looking forward to a great tournament.
John Moran, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. My pleasure.